Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about optometry scholarships and how I saved about $20,000 the past 2 to 3 years. And let's get started. Optometry school is really expensive, and going to a state school you can be paying about $20,000 of tuition every year, whereas going to a private school you may be paying about $40,000 every year. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to go to the University of Houston. But my first year, since I was out of state, I did have to pay the out-of-state tuition, which was a bit over $40,000. And as you may or may not know, the Stafford loan offered to health professionals, that only covers about $40,000. So that loan itself did not cover my tuition. And I had to pull out a second loan, which was the Grad Plus loan. And I pulled out about $30,000 to cover for my housing and my car and just other things that I needed, as well as to cover the rest of my tuition. So after my first year, I was like, I need to try to cut costs somehow, some way, even though I was already saving because I was an in-state student now. And I decided to start applying to scholarships. Honestly, I never really thought of myself as a scholarship person because I'm not really good at writing, and I just thought of myself as an average student. But there's a lot of scholarships out there, so I decided to just shoot my shot, and it worked. So I'm just going to be going over the scholarships that I did get first. And the first one that I got was the LASIK Plus scholarship. This scholarship was $2,500, and for this scholarship, they do offer it in the fall, spring, and summer, I believe. So there are lots of chances to get this scholarship. For the scholarship, you needed above a 2.5 GPA, and you also need to send in an essay about, I believe, what your vision is, what vision means to you. Definitely apply to this one if you can. It comes basically every semester, and it's definitely worth a shot. Next scholarship is the HVA scholarship, so the Healthy Vision Association. I believe you can sign up for the association. I believe it's free to students. For this scholarship, it is $2,500, and I got it 2 years ago, and I also got it last year. For this scholarship, the initial application requires you to have, I think, either 2 recommendation letters or an essay, and I believe I sent in 1 recommendation letter and also an essay. To reapply, you also send in your previous semester's grades as well, and I also just sent them a letter about what I've been doing the past year and what my new goals are. So next is the Wallman Scholarship, and for this scholarship, I received $5,000 last year, and I also received $5,000 this year. So I highly recommend you guys checking this out because it is also a super simple form. The form, you just fill out some tax information, if you've worked recently, if you have any extracurricular activities, awards, and then there's also a small box for any goals or aspirations. It doesn't require a recommendation letter, but you need an appraisal. And what they basically do is fill out a couple of check boxes to see how you are as a student. For me, I asked my research professor last year, and then this year I asked one of my clinical professors. But it is a super easy form, so you should definitely check it out. So those were all the scholarships that I applied to and I received. I also got a $1,500 grant last year just from the University of Houston as well. Next, I'm going to be talking about conferences and how I saved money going to conferences. The first one that I want to talk about is going to be for Vision by Design. And if you guys don't know, it is an Ortho-K myopia control conference. I actually went to this conference before I even went to optometry school. I know that Paragon that year was offering students some reimbursements for their travel costs. And so I just reached out to them and I asked them if they could also extend that to me since I was going to be an optometry student come fall. And they were gracious enough to do that. I believe it was only maybe $100, but better than nothing. So the next conference I went to was ARVO, which is an ophthalmology/optometry conference. I did present a paper presentation there for my research though. So originally I received a $750 grant from just my research program itself. And then I also applied for one of the Cullen Fellowship travel grants at the University of Houston. And that travel grant was to help research students who are presenting their work. So I knew that I was going to Vancouver and it would be kind of pricey since it was international. So I applied to that one as well, and I received another $750 for that conference. The next conference I went to was Academy, and that was last year's Academy in Orlando. I was presenting a poster presentation there, so I was able to apply to a bunch of different of these student travel grants. I know a lot of you guys don't do research, but if you do have an interesting case, maybe your third or your fourth year, I highly recommend submitting a case report, because after the case report, you are able to also apply to get any of these scholarships as well. And they have a bunch of them. I remember applying to maybe like 5 or 6 of these travel grants, and you're only able to have one of them though, which is fine because I received the Brett Benz Clinical Fellowship Award, and so that was $750, which definitely covered my trip. Also at Academy, there's just a bunch of different other opportunities. I also was a social media influencer for Luxottica, and I also received $100 from them as well. So those were all these scholarships that I received. And now I'm going to talk about a couple more that I applied to and I didn't receive, and also a few that I've heard about. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to talk about the Walmart Project Foresight. And for this scholarship, I believe there's a winner for every school. You get a $1,000 scholarship as well as a $1,000 travel grant, I believe, to Optometry's meeting. For this scholarship, I remember writing an essay. I think it was about practice management, and also there was an interview as well. Definitely check this out, especially if you're going to go to Optometry's meeting. The next scholarship that I have heard about is the Optometry Cares Scholarship, and I believe there's a couple of them, maybe about 4 of them, ranging from $2,500 to $10,000. So that is big money right there. I think there's a little bit more work to these scholarships. There are essays, and also some of them may require a video as well. So the next scholarships that I'm going to be talking about are all under NOSA. Personally, I'm not in NOSA, but I have seen these scholarships kind of throughout social media, and I just thought I would bring it up. It's definitely a great member perk of being in NOSA, because I saw that there's like 20 scholarships out there ranging from $500 to most of them are actually $1,000. So that's definitely a good amount of money right there, and I definitely think you should maybe join NOSA and check it out. The last scholarship that I am going to talk about is the Cooper Vision Scholarship. So I don't know if this ranges from school to school, but for my school at least, they look at annual supply sales. I believe in the daily contact lenses. It can be in any brand, from what I remember. Basically, you keep track of your annual sales, and if you sell the most, then you win a $500 scholarship. Alright, so that is a wrap to my video. I hope this video was informative and helps you save some money throughout optometry school. But I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!